So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this lecture. This is the last lecture on relative motion. In today's class, we will finish up relative motion, and maybe by this week, is one more small thing left in motion in 2D, that is circular motion. And I think we will complete it in 2 classes, maybe, and we will wind up motion in 2D. Anyway, today is relative motion lecture 4, and in this in this part we will do crossing of the river valley problems. Now in the previous class we had seen the rain man problem, and we had seen how to find out the velocity of rain with respect to man. There were two things that were given: velocity of rain with respect to ground and velocity of man with respect to ground. We had seen that. We know how to find it out. Then if I go more back, when we were doing this upstream downstream problem, where the man was moving either in the direction of river flow or opposite to the direction of river flow, we had seen that two things were given. The first thing that was given was the velocity of river with respect to ground. We called it u. The second thing that was given was velocity of man with respect to river. We called it v. Do we remember this? Now, the same thing is going to come, because now we are going to deal with the crossing river problem. So we'll call it river crossing problems. So we'll call it river crossing problems. And what is going to be given in this river crossing problem? We would be given V. We'll call it V. V will be velocity of boat or man with respect to river. That will be the first thing that will be given to us. Then we will be given velocity of river with respect to ground. These two things will be given, and W, that is the width of the river, would be given to us. So these three things will be given to us, and probably we will be asked to find out how much time it takes and where he lands up. So basically the question would be like this. We would have one shore, and these are the two banks of the river we would have, and then this river would be flowing. Let us say river would be flowing in this direction with a velocity, as we already discussed, u. The velocity of the river would be, let us say, like this, and the man will attempt to cross the river from point A, and he will try to reach point B. That would be crossing the river. Now he can move in different ways. For example, in first case, he can move directly like this, case number 1. So that's why written V1. He can move directly like this, case number 1, or he can move in this direction. That would be our case number 2, or he would move in this direction. That would be case number 3, which never comes. So basically, it basically depends on how that man is moving with respect to the river. He can move always perpendicular to river flow. He can move at an angle opposite to river flow. He can move at an angle which is in the direction of river flow. So there could be three different cases in which the man can move, and in all these three different cases, different scenarios will happen. So we will discuss these three different scenarios. We'll discuss the two different scenarios under the two headings that are there. So the first heading is crossing the river in the shortest time. You have to cross the river and you have to take the shortest time to cross the river. Now I would ask you, how would you cross the river and take the shortest time to cross it? How should I cross the river so that I take, and you have to draw this diagram. Uh, the question when it comes, it will not require you to draw the diagram because you just have to write the answer and understand the important points. How should I move, or how should the river, or how should the boat move, or how should the swimmer move so that he crosses the river in the shortest time? The river is, let us say, flowing like this. This is how the river is flowing, and river is flowing, as I told you, with a velocity u. River is flowing with a velocity u. How should he move, or how should he swim, or how should the boat move so that he crosses the river in the shortest possible time? Let us say the width of the river is given as v, and he can swim with a velocity v with respect to river, or with respect to water. How should he swim? What do you think? How should he swim so that he crosses the river in the shortest possible time? This is not a question of physics. This is just common sense. I have to cross the river in the shortest time. How should I move? Tell me. How should you move if you want to cross the river? Tell me. Tell me. How should he move so that he crosses the river in the shortest time? Any idea? I only gave you three cases. Case number 1, case number 2, and case number 3. These are the three cases. How should he move so that he crosses the river in the shortest time? No idea? He should move perpendicular to the river flow. Case number 1. So that is how he should move. His velocity, the velocity of man with respect to river, should be perpendicular. So if he has to cross the river in the shortest time, his velocity should be perpendicular to the river velocity. So what happens? He swims like this. The river velocity adds up and his net velocity becomes like this, and it does not reach point B, he reaches this point, point C. This is what you need to remember. VU, U is the velocity of river with respect to ground, V is the velocity of man with respect to river. He reaches point C. This distance from B to C is known as X. This X is known as the drift. He has been drifted by the river. This X is known as the drift. This red is the velocity of man with respect to ground. This red is the velocity of man with respect to ground. So what all things they can ask you? We'll write them. Draw the diagram, we will write them. So first thing that they can ask you is how much time it takes to cross the river. That is the shortest time. You cannot cross the river in a time which is less than this. How much time will it take to cross the river? Anyone? the time will be given by x divided by the velocity of man with respect to river, x divided by v. That much time he will take to cross. Oh, why written x? W, the width of the river divided by v. That will be the time he takes to cross the river in this case. That is the first formula that you should remember. Second one is the value of this x. How much is the drift in this case? How much distance does it drifts? So this x can be found out in a number of ways. You can write this x as u, the velocity of river, multiplied by t. You also know the value of t is w by v, so you can write it as, why I'm writing x always? You can write it as u by v multiplied by w. This is the second thing that they can ask you. The third thing they can ask you is what is the velocity of man with respect to ground? Is the magnitude. To find out this magnitude, you can see it from the right angle triangle. This is base, this is perpendicular. If I call this angle as theta, V becomes the base, U becomes the perpendicular, and VMG becomes the hypotenuse. You can find out the value of the hypotenuse, V square plus U square. The fourth thing which they normally don't ask, but you can write it, is the value of theta. Theta is the angle with the vertical. You can write it in different ways. You can write tan theta is equal to U by V. You can write sine theta as U by VMG. You can write cos theta as V by VMG. This is the angle. This angle theta is with the vertical. The last thing that you must remember, angle with the river flow. How much angle he makes with the river flow. His final velocity makes with the river flow. Remember, his velocity with respect to river, as you can see, is perpendicular. What we are writing is the angle his net velocity makes with the river flow. So the angle that his net velocity makes with the river is this angle phi, and this angle phi, if they ask you, they will not ask you, will be equal to 90 minus theta. It is not asked anytime, but if it is asked, you can write it down. The things or the quantities that they are going to ask will be number 1 and number 2. They are not going to ask you the other ones. That is how questions are done. If you remember this diagram, I'll give you 5 minutes. Draw this diagram carefully, see what all things are there, and then I will give you some notes on this, and that notes may come as questions in your paper. So I'll give you 5 minutes to note this down. Once you note it down, please let me know.
Completed, sir.
Everyone has written this?
Yes, sir.
Because once I give the question, then you don't tell me you can't do the question. So that time I will not help you out. I've given you everything that you require, and you will have to solve the question based on that. Please remember this. Okay, the important point that you must remember. Point number one, the velocity of man with respect to river should be perpendicular to the velocity of river. Or in other words, he should swim perpendicular to the river to cross the river in the shortest possible time. The second theme, how much time it takes, W divided by V. The third thing, what is the drift, Q by V multiplied by W or U multiplied by T. These are the normal things that are asked in this question. So please remember them. The rest of the things they might not ask, but if they ask, please don't say that we don't know it, because you already know it. So note this down, and then I will give you a problem on the same. Noted it down, everyone? Then you have this problem. A 400-meter wide river is flowing at the rate of 2 meters per second. A boat is sailing with a velocity of 10 meters per second with respect to the river in a direction perpendicular to the river. Find the time taken by the boat to reach the opposite bank. How far from the point directly opposite to the starting point does the boat reach? In what direction does the boat actually move with the river flow? Three things have been asked. I hope you can give me the answer. Your time starts now. Got the answer?
E is equal to
What? Can't hear your voice, beta. You can type if you can't talk.
40 seconds.
I need all the three answers. Okay, I'll give you more time.
The time equals to 40 seconds.
Correct. That is correct.
And draft equals to 80 meters.
It's not draft, it's drift. Yes, drift is 80 meters.
And
Third one. What direction does the boat actually move with the river flow? So,
tan inverse 5, sir.
tan inverse 5. That is correct. Tan inverse 5. That is correct. But how did you get tan inverse 5? That is what I am concerned about. It's good that you got tan inverse.
Tan theta equals to u by v.
But in the formula, u by v. So u is 2 and v is 10. So how it is 5?
2 by 5, 2 by 10. 2 by 10.
So how are we supposed to solve this? So first of all, we need to, you may not need to draw the diagram. This is how it moves. This is point A, this is point B. This is given as 400 meters. The river is flowing like this with a velocity u. So basically what happens is he is swimming perpendicular. So he swims like this with a velocity v with respect to the river. This v is given as 10 meter per second. And this u is given as 2 meter per second. The velocity of the river adds like this u, and he finally gets this velocity and he ends up at this point C. This is the distance that he drifts, x. And what they're asking you is this angle with the direction of river flow. They're asking you this angle. Okay. Having understood this, you can find out the first thing. The first thing is finding out the time. So it's simply V divided by W divided by V. 400 divided by 10, and that is 40 seconds. Then you have to find out the drift x. Once you get the time, you multiply u by t. That is the simplest way. So 2 multiplied by 40, the drift is 80 meters. They've asked you this angle theta. What I gave you was the other angle theta, right? So if I call, let me not call this angle as theta, let me call this angle as what I called it previously. Let me call this angle as phi. I call this angle as theta. Now see how you can write this. I can find the value of tan theta. Tan theta is u by v. So it becomes 1 by 5. Tan theta is 1 by 5. Tan theta is 1 by 5. So from there I can get theta as tan inverse of 1 by 5. But they are not asked us the value of theta. They have asked us the value of phi. So I can write phi as 90 or pi by 2 minus tan inverse 1 by 5. Do we understand this? That is one way of finding it out. Or what you can do is simply find the value of this tan of phi. This tan of phi is the inverse of it. So this tan of phi is V by U. This tan of phi is V by U. In that case, you will get tan of phi as a 5. So you can also write phi as tan inverse of 5. Both these answers are exactly same. How are they same? It is just a question of maths involved in it. It has got nothing to do with physics. So the answer in the options could be given in any one of these forms. So you have to be careful which answer is given and which answer you have to find out. Do you understand this? That is case number 1. A question based on case number 1. The man is trying to cross the river in the shortest possible time. He does not reach the opposite end of the river. He reaches a point which is slightly ahead, and that distance is known as drift. I'll give you 2 minutes to note this down and we'll move on to the second case. Note this down how I've written the answer. Shall we move ahead in life? Huh? Shall we move ahead? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Then the next case number 2 is shortest path or shortest distance. Whenever we talk about path, we talk about distance. Shortest path or shortest distance. Now, when I say shortest path or shortest distance, what it actually means is this is the first bank, this is the other bank. How I am going to move now? How is the gentleman going to move now? Again, I have this point A, I have this point B. The river is still flowing like this. That is what I've assumed. How should he move now? Now, when I say shortest point or shortest path, he has to cross the river and he has to take the shortest path. Which is the shortest path going from A to B? Which is the shortest path going from A to B? Yes. Which is the path which is shortest going from A to B? Tell me. I have to go from A to B following the shortest path from A to B. Which is the path that is shortest? Such a difficult question that no one knows the answer. You have 2 points A and B, and you have to move in the shortest path. Is it such a difficult question? You have to go from A to B and you have to move in the shortest path. What is the shortest path from A to B? From any point A to any point B, what is the shortest path? No one knows it? Wow, that is unbelievable. This is point A, this is point B. I have to move from A to B in the shortest path. What is the shortest path? No one knows it. Wow, great. If you don't know it, then congratulations. Today is the day that you are going to know that the shortest path between 2 points is a straight line. So you have to move in a straight line from A to B, and that would be the shortest path. If you don't know it, well, today is the day we grow up and we know that the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. Congratulations. Okay, so having congratulated you, he must move, or he must be moving in such a way that he moves along the line AB. Now, how he can move along the line AB? We must understand that the river is flowing like this. Now, if he tries to move perpendicular, he does not reach point B. He reaches some point ahead. So, the only possible solution is he has to move like this. He should move something like this at some angle. Then what will happen? Then what should happen is your U should add up and your final velocity should become like this. If your final velocity becomes like this, you end up at the exact opposite end. So now this becomes your oops, wrong color. Now this becomes your velocity of man with respect to ground. This angle is theta. The width of the river is given as W. Now, if he has to swim like this, he has to swim the shortest path. Remember, this is subjected to a condition that V should be greater than U. If V is not greater than U, if he cannot swim with a velocity which is more than the velocity of the river, he will never reach the opposite end. Exact opposite end will always reach somewhere ahead. So remember, for him to reach the exact opposite end by swimming, his velocity with respect to river should be greater than the velocity of the river itself. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Okay, what are the things that they are going to ask here? They will ask you, what is the time it takes to cross the river? Now you can find it out in different ways. Let us start with the first way. The time it takes to cross the river will be W divided by VMG. W divided by VMG. Now, what is this VMG? This VMG is the velocity of man with respect to ground. And you can see from the right angle triangle, velocity of man with respect to ground. In this case, V is the hypotenuse, VMG is the base, and U is the perpendicular. So now it becomes V square minus U square. Do we understand this? So the formula of this time becomes W divided by under root of V square minus U square. This is the time it takes to cross the river. This is not the shortest time, but the path is shortest because your drift is 0. Your drift is 0. Now you can find out the value of this angle. You can find it out in different ways. The simplest way is sine theta will be equal to u divided by v. Now theta, sine theta is always less than 1. This implies that this equation is only possible when v is greater than u. That means this condition is only possible when v is greater than u. I hope you are getting my point. Yes or no? If you want to find out the value of tan theta, I am giving you all the values. So after sine theta, I must tell you cos theta. That will be better. So the value of cos theta is base. Base is Vmg divided by V, or you can write it as under root of V square minus U square divided by V. The value of tan theta, the value of tan theta, the value of tan theta can be written as U divided by V. Point number 5, the angle that it makes with river flow. Can anyone tell me what is the angle with river flow? Can anyone tell me what is the angle with the river flow? When I'm talking about the angle with the river flow, when I'm talking about the angle with the river flow, I mean this angle. This is the angle that it makes with the river flow. What is the angle with the river flow? Phi. What is the angle with the river flow? Phi. That will be equal to 90 plus theta. Do we understand this? I'll give you 2 minutes to note this down.
Hello.
Yes, bacha, done? Shall I move ahead in life? Life has to move ahead.
Yes, Paris. Yes, Paris. Yes, Paris.
What? If you can't, I'm not able to hear you. If you can't. Okay. Anyone has written this?
Completed, sir.
Okay, then I will move ahead and write some important points. Important points about this crossing. What is the important point number 1? This is only possible when it is possible. Only possible if V is greater than U. Drift X is 0. Time is W divided by under root of V square minus U square. These are the normal things that they ask. I've told you the other things. The angle sine theta. You can also write the value of sine theta. Sine theta is U by V. Angle with the river 90 plus sine inverse U by V. The more the number of ways in which you can remember this, the better, bacha, it is going to be for you. Have you noted it down, everyone? Yes or no? No, yes. So then here comes the question. Best of lucks. I hope you can crack this one. A man can swim at the rate of 5 km per hour in still water. A 5 km wide river flows at the rate of 3 km per hour. The man wishes to swim across the river directly opposite to the starting point. Question number 1. Question number 1. Along which direction must he swim? So they're asking you the direction. Question number 2. What should be his resultant velocity? When I say resultant velocity, it is the velocity of, remember the language, it is the velocity of man with respect to ground. What is the resultant velocity? How much time will he take to cross the river? The time starts now. Let me know once you are done, bacha.
Sin 3/5 37 degrees, sir. 4/5 ante 53 degrees.
With the river flow, bacha. The direction with the river flow, they ask. With the river flow, how much? With the river flow, bacha. Huh? With the river flow, I am asking. With the river flow, bacha. With the river flow. No one with an answer. With the river flow is what we are asking. See, small things make a large difference. Okay, chalo. What about the other question? Are you able to do the other ones? What is the resultant velocity? 4 meter per second. Okay. How much time does it take to cross the river?
1/4 seconds, sir.
1/4 seconds. 1/4 seconds. You will take more time to speak one. We will cross the river in 1/4 seconds. The river, see a logic behind your answer. The river is 1 kilometer wide and he will cross it in 1/4 seconds. Is he God? He's definitely not God. So, how are we supposed to do this? I draw the diagram just to make some sense. This is my river. He starts from point A and he intends to reach point B. The river is flowing like this. How should he swim? The river is flowing with a velocity u. How should he swim? He should swim at this angle here. Then the velocity of river will add up and his net velocity, resultant velocity will become like this and he will end up here. This angle is theta. Now I begin my answers. The value of sine theta is u by v, 3/5. From here I get the value of theta as 37 degrees. This theta is not the direction with river flow. To get the direction with river flow, I have to find out this angle phi. This angle phi with the direction of river flow is 90 degrees plus 37 degrees. So it is obtuse angle 127 degrees. That is the first thing that you have to understand. What is the resultant velocity? This is question number A. Question number B, the resultant velocity is velocity of man with respect to ground. You can see it from the right angle triangle. It is nothing but equal to under root of v square minus u square, under root of 5 square minus 3 square, and that is nothing but 4. I told you Pythagorean triplets 5, 3, and 4. See how much time it takes to cross the river. The river is 1 kilometer wide. 1. His velocity is 4 kilometer per hour. He takes 1/4 hours and not 1/4 seconds. So 1/4 hour is 15 minutes. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
It takes 15 minutes and not 1/4 seconds. He is not light. Can travel with the speed of light so that he crosses the river in 1/4 seconds. We understand this, yes or no? Everyone?
Understood, sir.
Okay, now in this question, I can add my question. So I have added my question. The diagram remains same. I add my question. Question number D. How should he swim? How should he swim to cross the river in shortest time? How should he swim to cross the river in the shortest time? And what is the answer? How should he swim to cross the river in the shortest time? Or in which direction should he swim to cross the river in the shortest time? No answers? Yes? In which direction he must swim to cross the river in the shortest time? You don't remember?
Perpendicular.
He must swim perpendicular. So he must try to swim perpendicular. Then he will be able to cross the river in the shortest time. Comes the next question. What is that shortest time? Find out the shortest time. Find the shortest time. Tell me what is the shortest time.
One by 5 hour.
The shortest time is now 1 by 5 hour. And how much is 1 by 5 hour? It is 12 minutes. So 12 minutes is the shortest time he can take to cross the river. Are we getting the question or no? The next thing is how far he reaches on the other end. How far ahead he reaches on the other end. He will not reach the exact opposite end. He will reach somewhere ahead. How far ahead? How far ahead does he reach? No answer? You have to find out the value of x. How much is x? U multiplied by t. U is 3. T is 1 by 5 hour. 3 by 5 kilometers ahead. Do we understand this? See, we have just done it 5 minutes earlier, and after 5 minutes, you have forgotten it. Remember, your exam is next to next year in the month of June or July. How are you going to remember it? If you can't remember it after 5 minutes, how are you going to remember it? Please think and please try to remember it, beta. There's only one way. We have not even completed 5% of your course. 95% of 11 ka course is remaining. 100% of 12 ka course is remaining. How will you remember it? Achieving anything in life requires a lot of hard work. Please put in that hard work. Okay, the last question is, what is the resultant velocity? What is its resultant velocity? When I ask resultant velocity, I'm asking velocity of man with respect to ground. And the answer is
Root 34, sir.
root 34. That is good. That means it is equal to under root of v square plus u square. In this case, the previous case was v square minus u square. Remember that. Under root of 5 square plus 3 square. So it is under root of 34. The previous case it was 4. Now it is under root 34. It is more than what was there in the previous case. So with this, my dear friends, we come to an end of the relative velocity wala portion. That is also done and dusted. In the next class, we will move ahead with the next topic. And I think we will be taking up, oops, what happened here? Okay. I think we will be taking up circular motion so that your entire motion in 2 dimension is completed. The only thing that is left is circular motion, which we will do in the next class. Next class is tomorrow. I think by 2 class we should be able to complete it. So that's it. If you have any doubts, you can always come up to me and ask. Else, it's a wrap from my end. Take care. God bless you. Please study. That's the only way. That's the only thing that you can do, which does not require any special talent. Okay. Study, please, and remember, make short notes. Right now, you can make short notes. After 5 days or 5 months, you definitely cannot make short notes. This is the time that you remember what are the important things. Make just one notebook. Just make it for very short notes. Write all those very short notes in that notebook so that whenever you want to revise, you don't have to look at the actual notebook, because the actual notebook will start piling up. And looking at those pile of notebooks, you will not be able to see what was there. Up till now, take 1 hour, 2 hour of your time. We have only done motion in 1D and 2D. Note down each and every formula that I have given you. Make a separate short notes book. That is my tip for you. Make a separate short notebook. Write all these formulas here so that whenever we have to revise, don't have to look at the main notebook. Just open your short notebook. Okay, these are the formulas. Okay, now I'm good. That is how you should move around. Do it from now. You can't do it once the topic is getting over, or when the topic is in process. When we are doing the topic, that is the time you know the topic. 2 days after that, everyone forgets it. So this is the time that you can make those short notes, draw those diagrams. That will be a revision sort of thing. Just write the short notes there. Don't have to write any question in that short notebooks. Okay, that is my tip. If you want, take it. If you don't, no. Take care. God bless you all.
Bye, sir.
Bye.